Here's how I like to change the oil myself on my Trail Boss Silverado. I've been doing it myself since I've owned the vehicle for a couple of years now, and I thought I would go ahead and show you how I do it. So let's just follow along with me. As you can see, my Silverado is too wide for my single car side of the garage. I have a double side, but I have another car over there I'm working on, so I couldn't fit it in all the way to work on. Typically I do, but I'll show you how I change the oil. I use this low creeper. Some of these tools you don't need to use yourself, but if it's a DIY type, which typically it will be, the drain plug is a 15 millimeter, but I use a socket with a long reach on it. It's a lot easier. I also use this setup for the oil filter, and then I use a real large tub that I get at Home Depot. It works really easy. It's wide, and then you can see I lift up just a little bit of the with the floor jack on the passenger side, because it'll drain the oil to the driver's side just a little bit better. So follow along with me and you'll see how I do this. So here we go. The oil filter is located kind of deep into this engine. So you can see I have to raise it up and see if I can get you a picture of the oil filter where it's at. See, it's right there next to the oil plug, and so I'm going to put my socket over it. Again, I need several hands to do this, and it simply twists off with not too much problem. See, I got turning it. That's all you need to do with this setup. I mean, I got this little wrench, the top part, I think at Kmart long time ago, and I have each one for all my filters for all my cars, and it really does. I don't use it to put it on, but I do use it to take it off. So I'm going to now take the filter off, and you see I have my real large tub here ready to go. And I don't know how you do it, but I always get oil on my hands, and that's just the way it is. But I try to do it fast, fast and furious, as you can see, and that's it. And you can see I have not found a way to not get oil all over my hand using the oil, doing it this method. I'm sure if you take it to a shop, they have a great method. I don't know what it is, but for a DIY guy, plan on paper towels and getting it all over you. But you can see the large pan that I have works fantastic for all my cars. Now what I like to do while that's dripping is I always check the filter for the gasket to make certain that it came off, and it's right there. You can see that the gasket's right there, and so it's good to go. And I can install the I can now install the filter when I want to. Here is the filter that I'm replacing it with, and let's go ahead and put the filter on. I like to take just a tiny bit of oil onto the gasket here. It's hard to do one-handed, but I can do it. My gloves are a little oily, so I kind of lubricate that. It's lubricated up by the engine too, but let's go ahead and get this on. And okay, I like to add just a little bit of oil to the filter itself. It's pros and cons, whether or not you should do that or not. It's the way I've always been taught. My dad always did it, and I've had no problem. I do it with all my cars. This is the oil that I'm using for I've been using it since I bought the truck. I think it's pretty good oil. I keep it the same, 0 to 20, but I like to put just a, I don't fill it up all the way. Now I see the oil, and then I generally stop right about there. I just put a little bit of in there, pre-lube it, and that's how I do it. Now let's go ahead and install this. Another thing to watch out for is when you have primed your filter and you're underneath the car. Remember, you're crawling around on a concrete floor or something, and as you put your hands up around the car to kind of move yourself around, keep in mind that you don't want any grit to drop into that filter on accident. So place a little rag over it until you're just about ready to install, which I am getting there. We're going to install that right up in there. That's where it's going to install. Hopefully no oil's going to drop on my camera. Well, let me get my arm around here, and I'll be doing this left-handed. Move my tub out of the way just a little bit. It's finished dropping. I take my rag off, and when you go up on the Silverados anyway, just go straight up like so. You'll feel it. You'll feel the threads engage, and you just simply spin it on. Okay, now it's engaged right about there, and so I'm going to go like this, and I kind of do it tight with my left hand, and I am going to bring my right hand around to make sure that I've got it tight enough. It's a little stronger with my right hand, and I do. So I'm happy with that. That's the only tight that you need to do. So now the next step, of course, is to drain the oil itself. Okay, here we go. Let's go ahead and get this oil drained. I'm using a 15 millimeter wrench, and let's see. Boy, oh boy, boy, I dropped my wrench right down in the oil. So it's a goner. It's already oily, so I'm not going to worry about it. When I pull it out, I'll take a magnet and pull it out. But here is that's what's nice about a big tub, really, is it's going to pick up any of your mistakes. So I'm wearing latex gloves again, but still, I'm telling you, it's just no way to not get oil on your hand. You try, but you still do it. There we go. How about that? And I'll just simply drop this in because I have a magnet. I'll pull it out, and we're just going to let that oil go away. Now that oil right there has about 8,000 miles on it. I typically change more oil around 7,000 on this truck, depending on how I use it. If I'm towing a lot, which I will be here in the future, then I'll change every 5,000 miles. But for right now, every 7,000. So I'm 1,000 miles over, which I don't like, but that's just kind of the way it goes. So we'll let that drain out pretty good, and then we'll put the plug back in and fill it full of oil. Here's a shot of my my big tub that I use for this. Yeah, it's a little overkill, but you know what? I like it a whole lot better than the small little ones. They tend to splash. This way, this thing picks it all up, and it's not hard. It's easy to drain into a bucket or into a container for recycling. Really easy. So you can see how much it's dripping out right now. That's quite good enough. You're not going to get it all anyway. So now I'm going to fish out my my nut. It's in my old pan here. There's the wrench. We'll get that a little later. Gotta find my. I don't typically have this happen, but there it is right there. But it did on this one. I thought I'd just go ahead and show everybody, if it happens to you, what you can do. Okay, so let's just put this up right here. I'm going to take a towel and wipe it all off. Okay, so what we're looking for is to make sure there's a gasket. You can see the gasket is still on there. Typically OEM says, you need to replace the gasket all the time, each time, but I've been really successful with this and not replacing it. It seems to be fine. You can see it's right there. So we're going to put this in. Now listen, this is kind of a strange thing, I know, but make certain that you've put this in and you've tightened it. Because when I crawl out from under here, I'm going to claim that we're done. I say this with tongue in cheek because years ago I was a car detailer at Rodway Chevrolet, or at a Chevy dealer, and I witnessed a mechanic changing oil on a car, and he's adding quart after quart after quart. Where is it? Well, he forgot to put in the drain plug, and it was all over the floor, which yours truly had to clean up because that was my job. I was about 16 at the time. Oh, it was a great job. I enjoyed it a lot. Okay, so now I have that pretty snug. I mean, you don't want to strip this thing, of course, but it's nice and smug. I've got this tight. I have this tight. And so now what I like to do is I like to wipe off any residual oil that is on here from the process of changing this. And so I've even written on the little pan right here, the splash pan, 15 millimeter. So I know I don't have to bring a bunch of wrenches because I can't remember what the size of the drain hole is. So, at least on my 5.3, this is a 15 millimeter. And so now we're done in the bottom of the truck, and we'll finish up. Okay, now we're going to put some oil in it here, and you're guaranteed, you've set it out that you know for certain the oil filter is tight. You know for certain that the drain plug is tight and secure. We have the truck lowered down on it, all four wheels. And so it's a matter of putting some oil in. On the 5.3 Chevrolets, at least on my Trail Boss here, the oil fill is on the driver's side. Pretty easy to get to, really. It's not that hard. And always use a filter. I mean a funnel. Yeah, you can probably do it without one, but I don't know. You're just better off to use a funnel each time. Now this is 5 quarts. I think I'll find out. I forget if it's 5 quarts or 6 quarts. It might be 6 quarts. We'll find out. Since I know the oil pan's empty, we'll just put all this in. And then we'll check the dipstick. Again, always use a funnel, a clean funnel, by the way. When you're done with this funnel, wipe it down, store it in a good place where it doesn't collect dust and dirt and so forth. That's the last thing you want in your engine, is any dirt. Okay. I don't know if that'll hold. We'll see. Okay, the engine dipstick is over here on the passenger side. Has this yellow handle on it. So we're going to wipe this off, insert it back in. Down all the way and up. It looks to me, see, sometimes it's so clear. Yeah, see, I think it takes more than 5. So I noticed I wasn't real clear about the oil capacity for my engine. And in my owner's manual, it has the 5.3, 6.2 series, and it says 8 quarts. And so that's the amount that I put in it, plus maybe, you know, a teeny tiny bit for extra for the oil filter. Not much. Okay, now I need to reset my oil indicator. And I'm going to press to get information for my oil. There's my oil life right there. Press the thumb wheel on the steering wheel from this page. Okay, and you heard it beep. When it beeps, it goes to 100%. You're good. Now it's reset. So, and the thumb wheel is this right here. This is how I do it on my Silverado. Okay, so that wraps up changing the oil on my Trail Boss Silverado, which I'm really happy with. It's a great truck. Here are the tools that I used for this. You don't need to use some of these for sure, but this is what I used today. I had used a step stool and then an oil drain tub of some sort, a wrench for the filter, 15 millimeter wrench for the oil plug, and of course a funnel and a magnet to grab my nut that I lost in, and rags. I have a pile of rags there. I used a lot more than that actually. And then that's the oil that I used. I used 8 quarts. Plus I used a 1 floor jack on the floor stand on the passenger side, and then to lift this side of the truck up just a little bit for draining the oil and for me crawling underneath of it. I also used a creeper, which I don't, there it is right there. This is one of my creepers. I have several of them. You can do without that, but it makes it just a little bit easier. Anyway, thanks for watching to John E. Garage.